Hey guys, I'm Adam with G2 Outdoor Adventures, and today we're going to show you guys how to make some charred material or char cloth. So I think even with today's modern technology, it's still important to have some of those old school techniques on how to start fire. So charred material is basically taking 100% natural material. We're going to burn it and deprive it of oxygen until basically it carbonizes. So that carbonization of that material will make it very, very easy to start a fire. Also, you could use char cloth, which is basically like a cotton material, whether it's your pants or your t-shirt, but it has to be 100% cotton. It can't have like a polyester mix to it. So we're going to need a few things to make this charred material, and one of those is going to be a container. So this container here, my wife actually picked up from the dollar store, and she knew exactly what I was looking for. So in this long container, we'll take the lid off, and inside of it, I actually have another container, which I mashed into it. It's a tight fit, it's kind of hard to get off. But so on the inside of this, I have another container, which is actually just the lid, but that lid is a really tight fit, so I could squish that lid into it, and then I poked a hole for the gases to escape. But the reason I have this secondary lid is I also have a magnifying lens. Now you could use a piece of flint and steel or whatever kind of striker material you want up here, but then I could encapsulate the whole thing with this secondary lid, and I have a really cool fire starting kit all in one container. The next thing we need to do is take a look at what kind of material to use to make your char. So right here I have some punk wood, and I believe this came off a poplar tree. But now your punk wood is going to be very, very spongy. So I could take this stuff and it breaks apart in my hand, or if I use my thumbnail, you could depress your thumb through it and knock chunks of it off. Now when you find this stuff, you don't want the stuff that's completely saturated. When you squeeze it, it just drips liquid. You want to try to find the driest material you can. But it doesn't have to be limited to just punk wood. Any kind of material that's pithy, you could go ahead and use. So hibiscus stalk would be a good one. Also cattails would be something you could use. So we're going to break this material up and put it inside our can. As we're breaking this up, try to grab the driest material you can, but even if there's a little bit of moisture, you can just cook it a little bit longer and that moisture will burn out. So now that we have all of our material into our can, we can start a fire. So for me, I'm going to be using my Firebox stove today. So you guys can see how we got a lot of smoke coming out of this hole now. We'll just wait till it's done. Once it's done, we'll put it off to its side and let it cool down. You want to make sure that you don't open this until it's 100% cool. If you open it while it's still hot, you're going to introduce oxygen to it, and it's going to reignite your fuel, and you're going to lose your charred material. So now that our canister is done cooling off, we could go ahead and take a look at it. And you guys seen how we packed this thing pretty full, and now there's just a fraction of the amount of material that we started with, but it does have that really good black looking coloring. So this piece here, you could see where it didn't really turn into charred material very well. That's really not a big deal. You guys could either toss this stuff out, or next time you could turn around and just char it a little bit longer. And you can also see that this material here, it's very, very light, like it could blow away in the wind. And when you break it, it's very brittle. Just falls apart. Let's go ahead and take this out in the sun. We'll see if we could use our magnifying lens and start a fire. So I got my magnifying lens here. And we're kind of in a bad position here because it's about 7 o'clock in the evening and the sun is starting to set. So that sun is really best when it's at its peak and brightest part in the middle of the day. So we'll take our charred material and we'll put it in the lid here and we'll break it up, and we're going to increase the surface area. Of course, you got to watch out for the wind because the wind's blowing, so it's going to try to take this away on us. So we'll try to find the focal point of our magnifying lens and see if we can get an ember started. We already got smoke started. I'm going to give this a few more seconds here, but this is actually already glowing red. So that was actually crazy fast. So you guys could see the whiteness there. And you really don't want to rush this process. So I'm gonna blow on it and try to get it to turn a little bit more red. Once you get those red embers started, you really don't have to rush this process. So now this is not a very good bird's nest, this is just some dry grass here, but we'll take those hot embers of our charred material and we'll go ahead and blow on it, and you want to try to blow with the wind. You don't want the wind or the smoke blowing back in your face. There you go, guys. So we got fire with the magnifying lens and using the charred material. And it is pretty windy out right now. We got the woods next to us. So I'm gonna put this out. No reason to have any fire when we don't actually need it. So we went ahead, we made our fire out of our charred material. And I wanted to go back to this container for 1 second. But again, we have this container here and I have my first inner lid. I also have this little section here to store my magnifying lens, and then the cap goes on there. So to find a configuration like this, it's going to be a little bit difficult. You're going to have to check out the flea markets, eBay, Amazon. I got mine from the dollar store. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped you guys out, and we'll catch you next time.